I'm live. Hopefully, this is. Sorry, I'm late. Had some shenanigans. Let me see. Hopefully, this is working. Everybody out there, Aya Daza, can you hear me? Am I there? Say yes if you can, and I'll start going. If anyone's here, anybody here? No. Okay. Well, this may be a. Oh, right. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Um, yeah, nice one. Does a. Yeah. So basically, the way I would look at today's. Let me just see. Right. Um, is I'd make this a 1-to-1, and if you want to ask me any questions, because I'll be honest, I'm genuinely out of ideas. There's something that I do want to show, which I'm really surprised that I didn't see this before. On one of my like 3.5 um, guides, oh right, great music. Oh, cheers, man! Much appreciated for watching it. There's stuff on the what's its name on the Spotify's and whatever. There's a link to that and more stuff that I've done. And like I said before, it's all Force based for the most part. It's all originated from Force anyway. Um, there was something that I noticed, uh, and I can't believe I didn't see this. And don't know how I didn't see this. So I can't believe, for the shame of me, I must have speed read this in the manual. But this is cool for tempos and tempo changing. So I'm going to show this here. Basically, if you want a set tempo, I know that in one of the things that I was showing you in the list how you add tempos and everything, because I could have sworn blind you couldn't automate them, but you can automate tempo changes, and I'll show you a quick way of doing that. Basically, um, all of what I was said before in that, and I'll probably should do a link to it. All of what I said before is still true, in that you can't have the tempo changes are not in clips; they're in the arrangement, because the way you want to look at it is the arrangement's the main thing, and then these are all branches from the arrangement. So I've got a BPM there of 100, and say if I wanted it to go over time and go down, what I'll do is I'll set it to arrangement, and I'll play this. So press play now, and while it's going, I put my finger on tap tempo so that this appears, and then I can use the keyboard to change the time, and this is automated now. So all of what I'm doing in here is getting automated. So all of this other stuff what I showed before is still true. Sorry, the music might be too loud there. I'll repeat that again. Basically, you press tap tempo and hold it, and then you can use the Q link, the BPM Q link, to change the tempo. And obviously, you've got to make sure automation is on to record it. And when you've done that, it's basically done that. So if I go now to sequence tempo, I've got all those time changes. So hard to hear. Sorry, I'll turn down music. Yeah, turn it down. So basically, I'll repeat that again. You can see that time, the actual time is changing, and I've been able to automate that in, and all that information is automated. So the rest of what I've said still applies. So now, if I wanted to, I could go to tempo. I could select all of these by tapping the top one, and then whatever amount. Oh, right. I could have sworn blind. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. I could select them, select whatever it was I wanted. And now if I go here, I'll be able to scale this down so I can do it by scale. So all of the rest of what I was saying still applies, but the thing is, before I didn't realize that you can actually record it in, because I didn't see it in the Q link, but it's already implemented in. So that's great. So with that, I did say that I was going to show time signature thing and show um, about jazz. I said I'd do something different like jazz with time signatures, so I've cleared that. But right, that's yeah, quickly to automate. Yeah. So you can, and it's smooth there, so you're not having to do any of that junk. What I would say, Dazza, because you're here, any questions you want to ask, this is now a one or well, there's everybody else. There's some more viewers, so I don't really have a plan for this one, except that somebody did want to show jazz, and I'm showing this. So kind of, kind of nice Tunisia esque. I'm not really a jazz. I wish I was a jazz nifty playing person, but I aren't. So I basically come up with something. It's 5/4. As if you had the clue on, you can hear that. So this is now an off minor, where that kind of rhythm I wouldn't be able to do. Clip change is instant. Was it clip tempo change? Yeah, clip tempo change. Yeah, that's true, because it's just in blocks, which is good. It's kind of a repeat of the step sequencer, but that other one is a glide, so you could glide into something now. So if you take what I've just mentioned here and the guide what I showed about and you add them together, you can do everything. So now tempos and time signatures for the most part at this moment in time are free and easy. So let's see. Thanks. I'm happy with going over some right. So all right then, cool. So yeah, it's basically uh, all I've done is set that to 5/8 because you can set the signature. Um, Current time of watching this. Current time of watching this. So probably next year may differ. So I don't speak out of turn. Um, you're locked into one sequence. The time signature is locked to one sequence. So it's not per sequence. It's going to all be 5/8. Um, there's easy work way around that, because everything starts off on one and it's all quarter beats and everything. If you were to do something where you would say like 5/8 and you had 4/4, all you'd be doing is when you record it in, it's just going to go to one time signature. But because it's playing across the whole load of time, it's not going to really matter. The only thing about that is obviously editing. You're editing quarters. I'm going to assume that when I'm talking about this kind of time signature thing, this is something that people know, because anybody who's messing with time signatures obviously knows what they're doing with time signatures. So basically, the short version of it is, if you did a 5/8 and you wanted to change it to 4/4, you would record the clip as 5/8, you record a clip as 4/4, and then you record them in one time signature. It's not going to make any difference because you're just going to play at that length, if that makes sense to you, hopefully. So back to this jazz shenanigans. I kind of have that. And what I've got is I've got this one bass, so let's just go to, we'll do just the bass. No, that's pianos. So we'll start with the bass. So that's one bass. I'm going to show you that trick what I was showing before. So if I wanted to have that bass move about a bit more human wise, just let me go to right, go chromatics. Let's because that's on chromatic. So probably want to be a bit lower in it. There we go. So So okay, I fluked that. So I'll add that as another clip now. So let's go launch. What did I say? Okay, I'll put the piano on because I'd like to know what I'm playing. Well, I'm the drum for now. So I'm gonna. Oh, that might be. Okay, remember that. Here we go. Then let's do an alternative one then. Oh, yeah, that's the thing. So I don't mess with time signatures. You have to remember to count in 5/8. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me try and wrap my head around that. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Oh, here's another thing. Just totally forgot about this. Right, because of this, and actually, what am I on about? This was one of my implementations. Anyway, made me laugh there. Right, because I'm using a different time signature and I'm wanting it in 16ths, but it can get really kind of frustrating, some of this shenanigans when using different times, because I'm in quarter notes. So I'm in quarter notes, but I want to get the time right. So what I can do is I can change that from rate to auto. And what that'll do is it'll automatically fix the metronome into the code, the time base of the signature you're using. So observe now, I'm turning on the metronome now. Now it's in auto watch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. So I'm not having to try and guess it. All right, and then because I was counting in quarters. What? Let me just see what you're saying. I've noticed since going when I quickly switch with the track showing go synth track, go over the synth track whilst clips are played. Let me read that again. I've noticed I've noticed that since over to 3.6, when I quickly switch drum track with the screen showing track settings and go over to clips, synth track while clips are playing. What did you notice? Oh, my force drops. Yeah, yeah. No, believe me, 9 million people have. It's raised. We know about it, and hopefully, very, very soon, it'll be fixed. I thought, well, it is personally, it's something to do with performance. My short version of it was probably just like Apple or anything else. You target a different CPU, so maybe you get loose on it. I don't know, but after a lot of discussions, obviously they're still going to target this CPU generation. So, if anybody out there gets to use a MPC Live, you'll see how much more different the speed is. It's like completely night and day. The only way I could describe it is if I was to change this sound here to another thing, I'd change it, and then it'd be on. It'd probably be about select. That's it. It's about, maybe it's about that slow. Wait, select. That's it. Yeah, select. That's it. Select. That's it. So as opposed to select. That's it. It's probably select. That's it. Select. That's it. Select. That's it. Where obviously on any of these it's select, unless it's using the same kind of samples or or synth engine. It's select. That's it. Right. Should I go back to? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't go back. I would never go back on any of this stuff. If the issue is it glitches, then just don't switch fast and just wait. And I get obviously depending on what you're doing. If you're recording live for some reason, I don't know why you would be doing it, but if you would swap saying, all right, I'm going to record this live in and started swapping, then it might be that. But even saying that, I don't even know if the resample takes that, because it could be an external sound thing. I haven't really checked, but I mean, it's been resolved anyway. So you should never go back on software. It doesn't make no sense, unless unless the way I look at it is like, I'm sure there's some people on free, and like 306 had something. I can't remember. There was something, the way it worked on 306. There was one specific thing which was interesting in 306. Is it worth all of the new features for that one specific thing? I don't know. Not to me. It's interesting. Use cases are really an interesting thing because different people use things differently. I've I've always been a I've been a person who, I used MIDI because there was no other option. It's like I use CV and gate stuff because there was no other option. That's kind of my mentality. The only thing that ever changes with tech, where I kind of still like it, even though there's no logic to it at all, is vinyl. That's the only thing in my mind that is there's no logic to it, but it's just nice to look at a record cover. That's it. I didn't even go CDs, but I always think, obviously, we are in a stage where it's always ongoing because you can resolve things, so you're not having to wait, and you can just resolve things as you go. So I think it's just the nature of the beast that you do that. Let me get back to what I was playing in now that I've showed you with the auto. So I was going to go up. Wait, yeah, yeah. That seemed like an idea. Oh, you have to keep that time signature. I have to keep remembering. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. Gee, I'm terrible at all this stuff. You know, so let me even check, because it's now that I'll just shift them. That's why I never do anything except 4/4. Even things what are in 3/4. But I come from sampling, so I always want to try and get everything into 4/4. So even when I'm hearing something and it's like 6/7, I'm hearing it as 4/4, so that I can kind of make it make sense. So I can put a beat, like a boom boom ka boom, or something, or some kind of beat over it, a 4/4 beat. So yeah. So what have we got? And then we'll do something else. So let me just see what you say. I'm hesitant to go back as I've purchased all plugins. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's obviously that's true as well. You the only, in fact, no plugins. Oh no, yeah, you're right. But I don't think there's. Is there anything that's reversible? No, I don't think I've ever found any software program that, like, you can go back a generation and it still runs. Cubase. I just remembered certain things did, and they kind of still do if you save them as that. I just remembered Cubase actually does that, where you can't do a CPR. You can do a CPR backwards. Yeah, you can, because the thingy hasn't changed. What's changed is they've added features. So obviously, if you have the feature in, it's not going to run that feature, but it'll run over everything else. It'll still open. So actually, but obviously, that's Cubase. I mean, that's old. Yeah, that's Cubase. So controlling. those tracks via right. Controlling those tracks via external controller works around the issue. Uh, False gigs. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I I solely, apart from when you're seeing me here, I solely use Force for doing live gigs because it's just so ace. People are always confused by it and they're like, and I can just join in with band. I'll bring it. It doesn't take up any space. Every metal band, I can start playing with them. Jazz band or whatever, I can pretend I know a bit. So I'm like that, but I can add in strings and just stuff like that. So I love it, me. I like I say, I've lobbied hard to see where this could go. So yeah, because I think it's a fantastic setup, but that's just me. So anyway, right. So yeah, let's continue on. So I did that bass in. Let me let me see about chords. What were the chords in here? Right, so okay, so that's one. Right, and that's what I say. What's ace about this? You can always reverse engineer stuff. So and because I let me see if I can play two, but I know that's one. Oh, oh, right. So that was it's actually what? Oh, good lord. Let me try that again. Okay. And what was the other one? Oh, that's not too hard. Oh, I've seen it now. That's it. So we got and we got that's it. All right, I'll play it bits by bit. All right then. Oh, let me just see. I'll probably just have to have the drum clear and different switching. Uh, yeah. Here's the thing though. You don't have to use these to switch because I know that it doesn't do that if you're switching using um, the main menu. Alternatively, if you're on the matrix, it doesn't do it then, from what I recall. So I mean, yeah, I don't think I have to wait. Easy David, waiting for the snow here. Came on nice, oh, nice one. Yeah, I like it. Oh, right, cool. Yeah. So let me play in these chords then. What did we do? Right. Da, 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 da. Was that? Oh, let me go back to where were I? What? Oh, okay. And like I say, if you don't play, this is why this is nice to use a false because you can actually see the chords. So now I'm gonna build up this mental note to self. It's 5/8, 5/8, 1 2 3 4 5/8. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Right. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. No, it's 5 in it. 5/8. 1 2 3 4 5. That's it. 1 2 3 4 5. It'll help if I count. Oh, it'll probably help if I put record on. So, say, yeah, like I says, I'm not a jazz aficionado, so I'm trying. So basically, that's about the gist of it, really. Because otherwise, I'd have to go and find a reference point for me to actually get my head around the idea of jazz. So, for anybody who's just tuned in now, what I was trying to show is a couple of things. I showed something about how you can get really nice, smooth, gradual time changes and how you can change from a fast thing so it's not instant, and you use that by doing the arrangement. And then I was just showing something in a different time signature, 5/8. So explaining by putting it 5/8, by you come in here and you tap that, and then you can change your type signature there. And then what you want to do is you want to go to metronome and change it to auto. And now, whatever you change it to, the actual bass signature will change to that. So, for example, now this is in 5/8. So I didn't have to work out what beats I need it to be to run in 5/8 correctly. It'll just automatically do it. So if I change it back to 4/4, it'll just change back to a 4/4 metronome. So that's going to make your life a lot easier. Then what I was showing is, because I already did something previously, and I was trying to remember what the chords were because I can't really remember the chords. I can see them there, so now I know what I'm doing. So I could go, and as if you've seen the stuff what I've done before, it means there's other places I can play that stuff. So I could play it there, but I can also play it there. So if I can play it there, and now I know that, maybe I might want to, but I might. So it's got another vibe. So now I could actually say to myself, oh, well, do you know what? And then change that. So I'll keep this on. Right on. I'll go launch, hold the thing down, launch. I just want to change that off. So turn that off. So now, so I could, so I'll do that. And then I could go, and I'll keep that. And then, like I say, let's say I don't really know how to play this because I don't really. So let me go find the other chord. That's the other chord. So that's the other chord. So now I know that I can go back to launch, swatch back to that. Now I know it's there, I can find a different way of playing that. So let's see. And how am I finding the different way of playing it? Because I look for the darker coloured notes. So the light coloured notes are the chord one I'm playing. The darker coloured notes are other notes that are it. So if I didn't know, it's always fifths, but I try not to get all smart and musical about it. So that means I can change that. I can substitute that note for that because it's there, so I could substitute that. So now I've got another kind of feeling to it. So we'll have that. Let's see. I don't like that bird there. That sounds cornball. Another tip you may or may not know about, and it's one of these where it's weird because you'll probably not do it, and then when you see it, you'll go, "Oh yeah, I don't know why I don't do that." So I'm gonna stop all of this for now, and I'm just gonna do a normal beat, so that I can understand it in my head instead of all this jazziness. Right. So I'm just gonna quickly create a clip. If you didn't know, you can quickly create clips by pressing select and then hitting the pad, and that'll create whatever the default clip is at. So I didn't need to do that. I just because it just makes my life easier. So I'm gonna go like this. Right. So now, why is that not showing? Let me just check something. Well, anyway, right. Say I wanted to get rid of that, or I only wanted to get one bit. You can press delete and then the pad, and it'll only take rid of whatever's playing. You can do that on the rest of the NPCs, but again, it's just one of the things that just went right on my head. So again, to show you, so let me add this in. So you can see this here. You'll probably see this here. But if I press this and delete, watch. What is it? This one? Yeah. So if I press this, yeah, I press the right one. Well, what the hell? Oh dear. Let me undo that. I didn't mean to do that. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, that shouldn't do that. That shouldn't do that. I'm gonna try that again with the. Right. Yeah. So, am I pressing the wrong one? Okay. Oh, it'll help if I press the right pad. Yeah. So basically, if you press the pad, you can get rid of the sounds that you want to get rid of. I don't know if anybody knew that, but that's an easy way of doing that. Let me just quickly see what somebody said. It would help if I press the right pad. Okay, cool. I've gone full jazz. But there is a clear. Is there a way to clear snapshot from a launch line? Yeah, yeah. You edit launch and yeah, clear. No, wait a minute. Um, eh? Wait, yeah, there is. Wait a minute. If I create a snapshot and I want to get rid of that snapshot, yeah. Um, let me just double check if it's say it's in here or something. But there is because I have done it before. I think. Or maybe you just need a coffee. Right, I might be wrong about that. I could have sworn there was. I could have sworn that you went like that. You went edit to get that in there, and then clear. Or maybe let me try something. If I take a snapshot and then I go back in, yeah, You just go clear. I know. I knew I wasn't going crazy. You just go clear snapshot, edit clear snapshot. So that's it. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So you clear it. That's how you clear it. You just go back to the snapshot on the row you are, and you press clear snapshot, and it clears it. It clear the line. So from what I recall, so don't quote me. It'll clear it at where it is. So let's say, for example, you did a whole load of jankiness, and then you do clear. I'm no, I think it does revert back. I don't think it leaves it where it is. I think it reverts back. Um, what's the next one? So can you make polyrhythms by recording a 5/8 and then 4/4? Yeah, you could do that. And I'd said that earlier to create a polyrhythm or to create time signatures along a sequence. Um, you would say do 5/8 like I've done a 5/8 one here. I change that to 4/4 and then I record it in at those that time, and it'll be those times. Obviously, it's not going to work. It's going to work right. Those will be 4/4 and 5/8, but the actual bass will be whatever it is. So if it was 4/4, it's going to be the bass. It's going to be 4/4. But because everything starts on like it's quarter notes, I don't want to really get too fancy on time signatures because as soon as it's time signatures, I already assume somebody's really sophisticated to know time signatures because it's not a thing that you would use unless you know about time signatures, unless you're insane, I guess. Um, right, but right snapshot for. But to back to your question of polyrhythms, what you would do is you would create something and then like I don't know, let's do a polyrhythm type. Well, I've kind of done a polyrhythm accidentally there because of my brain works in 4/4. So let me, I'll get rid of that, and then so that's doing something. But let's say, for the sake of argument, let me say I'm just gonna go 4/8, right? So now I've got this in 4/8. Do it, and then it's automatic. So I'll have this. So this is playing in 5/8, and then I'm gonna do a beat. No, I'll do it one more better so that you understand totally. So this is in 5/8, but I'm gonna do this thing in 4/4. So I've changed it to 4/4 now. So now that's playing. Now, obviously, this is madness in my ears, but 1, 2, 3. So that's 4/4. That's 5/8, whatever. I don't know. That's not my cup of tea. I'm a simple person with a short lifespan, so I like 4/4. Or if something's gonna have a time signature in it, that's it. I have a mate who used to love time signatures, tempos, and that, and for me it was difficult because I always I, this has changed for me, but I always wanted it to sell. So I would always do music that I knew isn't going to not work for most people. And it's not a case of making it something commercial. It's just it's do you know what it's like? Basically, I always look at music in a way of like you could wear jeans on the top of your head, but do most people wear jeans on the top of their head? No, not really. So do I want to be the person who starts wearing jeans on top of my head? Somebody's going to do it, and that's all right. I just don't feel you can sell jeans that are on top of your head as easy as jeans you can put on your legs. So I always kind of apply that. There's a consensus rule. Consensus rule, we over time people agreed. Yeah, I think jeans are nicer when you put them on your legs. So I go, that'll work more than if you put them on your head and say, I've got head jeans. Somebody will do it and somebody might, oh, that's cool. But so basically, that's what I was saying. The polyrhythms, even in my head, would like going crazy because it's 4/4. But that's how you would do a polyrhythm. Let's see. What was it? So, no worries, man. Everybody join the more the merrier. I appreciate you turning up. So Yeah, I think I'd showed that. Oh yeah, and so here's the other advantage of what I've been doing. I kind of showed this in a previous one. So what I could do is I could say, I'll make these not play, but I'll make this piano. In fact, I'll make these two change, and then I'll keep the drums. That's what I'll do. So I've got this one, I've got this one, I've got that one. So what I'll do is I'll keep the drums from not playing, and then I'll have the bass and that just keep shifting round. But let me put it back to the time signature what it was, so that I don't get mad confused with 5/8. So I've done three chords there, three different variations, and this again, another reason why I love this machine, right? I'm starting to learn how this plays. So see, so I can get all started getting jazzy and that lot because I'm getting a vibe for how this is. So let me go back to what I was going to show you, and this is how you can kind of humanize um, and make it seem like you're doing some really fancy stuff. Um, I'll get this track here, so I'm going to go into here, so I'll hold that, and then I'm going to say that this here, um, I don't want this to be affected by what I'm going to do here. So now, when I'm playing this, this is going to play and mind its own business no matter what I'm doing here, right? I'm going to say these two can carry on doing whatever they're doing. Did did that exist? Right. I'm going to get rid of that. Right. So let me just clear out everything. Right. That just saves me a load of bother. And I'm going to get rid of them drums because they weren't doing out. So what's going to happen now is this is going to play and these are going to get funky. So edit launch gets me into the launch row. And what I'm going to say is I'm going to keep it at this tempo because, again, me and my liking things doing whatever they're doing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just say that it's going to be random. So random and include. So it can play this again and whatever. And I'm going to say everything is going to be a beat. This, obviously, mileage may vary with this because of how notes play. So let me explain. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make this change on every. I'll make it change on every 2 beats just to be safe. And the reason why I'll make it change on every 2 beats is just in case I press a note and it's on the bar before. If I press a note or I've played a note and it's on the bar before, then what's going to happen is that note won't play because it'll change halfway through a bar. But if I do it to 2 beats, there's more chance of it playing. If you see what I mean. Let me do this quickly. Do this and then I'll explain. So I'm going to do random. I'm going to just do them all random. So that one's random. I'll go back here. I'm going to do the same with this. Oh, do you know what? I noticed the tempo was set on that one. Oh, I know why. Because I remember I was testing this out when I was doing it, so it doesn't really matter. But for this thing, we're just going to say we're going to have them random, and I'll include it. I'm going to include them all, and I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to make them 2 beats, just on both. Yeah, just because why not? It's just going to make life easier. So I've got one there. I've got one there. That's two. There. Oh, that's that. and a third one, which I'm going to do again, and just make it random. Now, I'll just explain what this means. If I say random, include this, it means if I had some more rows here and I had random include this, it's going to play all of the rows that are included in there. Now, let's say I had something completely different here and I didn't want it to be affected. I would do random, exclude this. So what will happen is it's only going to play randomly around what's included. So now I've got a way of getting it all musical without it playing over something I didn't want to play. So I'm going to do this 1 to 2 beats. Right, that's the first part. What this means, and I'll show it as it is so that you see it as it is before I get the funkiness of what makes this good. So do you know what? Oh yeah. So you've seen that. That's chaos because what it's doing is it's playing 2 beats and then it's changing 2 beats and it's playing 2 beats and playing. That's good, but it keeps resetting. It keeps restarting. So it's playing something, restarting, playing something, restarting. We don't want it to do that. We want to do the next thing, which again, quality of life. Quality of life. That's why I always say it's not about features, it's about quality of life, improvements. That's my belief, that's my driving force. No pun intended. For all of NPCs, again, is and my place in Akai is all about quality of life improvements. So, one quality of life improvement now is if I go here and I hold that and I go settings and I'm on not this one, but I can move tracks. But because again we're on the force, I don't even have to use the screen. I can just press that. I'm there. Wonderful. And while I'm there, I might as well name it. Again, that's why I like the force. Just the convenience, the quickness, the fact that I'm having this conversation with you and I'm not even thinking. If I was in silence, I'd probably have a concerto now because it's that fast. Anyway, legato. So now I've got legato on this this actual clip. So I want legato on all of them actually. So I'm going to go press select, and I've put legato on that one, putting legato on that, putting legato on that, putting legato on that, putting legato on that. So all of them are legato. What that basically means is when you play, it doesn't reset. It carries on from wherever it is, wherever you're doing, whatever you're doing. So now I've got this to say every 2 beats, it's going to change, but it's going to carry on playing, which sounds like this. And in fact, let me make it even slightly. Oh no, because you have to have it on launch, yeah. Well, do you know what? If I have that like that, what? Oh no, yeah. That's the difference between Ableton Live. You can do it in between. So now I can say to myself, well, it's. Can you see? There's notes what have skipped because it's 2 beats. So just to make that a little easier, now there's 2 schools of thought I can do on this. I could actually tell it to do the launch from not from a global, but tell it to do a launch from like a bar. So I'm going to say I'm going to do the opposite. Actually, I'm going to do the opposite. The change time I'm going to keep to a full bar. I'll do it to 1 bar. Hopefully what I'm saying is making sense because there's so much variety that you could do. I'm going to change this so that these things will change on the bar. So can I do that? Yeah. I couldn't remember if I could do that. That's nice. So again, another thing there, you can twitch it. You can just increase or decrease. So basically, when I play this, so I'm going to explain, this channel I've took out of the action, so it's not going to do anything to do with these. When I press this and play, it's going to play this row for 1 bar, then it's going to change and do something else. If it was to change to this next bar, it's going to play that. But because I put legato in, it's going to continue playing on from wherever it is in this bar. But I also added launch. In fact, I'm going to take that off just so that hopefully you can understand what's going on here. So I'm going to go here to settings. Oh, there's a plank one. Let me just get to something so that there is something. I'm going to go to here, and I'm gonna just make them global at first. So, and make sure they're all global. I made that 1 bar. So I'm going to make it global. This is how sophisticated you can be on this stuff. So now what's going to happen is this stuff is going to play. This is going to carry on playing. And each bar, this is going to change and the chords will change. But it'll continue from where it is. So. So, see, I've got nifty jazz, stuff, but what I might want to do, even though that's kind of cool, is, and I'm going to just for ease of understanding again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the bass out of legato. No, I'm going to take the bass out of this for now, just for now, so that you can understand what's going on. And hopefully, again, my aim is to help everyone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all take it out of legato, because the brilliance of this thing is there's so much individualism that you could really come up with some clever configurations. But just to make it simple, I'm going to include this. So what's going to happen now is when I launch this, so now I've got some kind of humanish kind of player. So this keeps changing, as you've seen. So it's like full action but random. But now, here's an extra step now. I'm going to say, because it's legato, it's continuing, but I'm going to say, I don't want it to do it globally, because what it's going to do is it'll play along and then it'll continue from where it is on the next bar, because we've got this set to bar. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say I want this stuff on these here, so I'm going to go to settings. I'm going to say these pianos, I want them to change. I'm going to say half a note, because a half note in theory should capture some notes what go over the bar in theory. And if I don't, I'll go to bar. So observe this. So now I've got an extra pianist now playing. So yeah, you go for it, man. So then I can come here and I can find the key. So I'm a jazz god now. But you see, just a short game, that piano is playing through that. So now I could do the same with the bass now. I could have that bass going. So all I have to do is I'll come back here and I'll say I want to include that, but I don't want it. I want it to do it in a bar so that I'm hearing it. I want to do it in a bar. So I wanted to do the legato, but I want it to do it as a it's a bar. So in theory now, hopefully I shouldn't have long notes because it'll wait for the bar before it changes over. Oh, did I include it? Let me check if I included it. Oh, I didn't include it. Let me include it again. Okay, so now I should obviously put it all in time because it was playing after the beat. So now we've got. So, do you know what I could do? Just to get a little bit more giddy. I shouldn't, but I will. If I was to say this changes every half a bar now. So let me go back down to 2. I'll go there. Then, if that's a bar, then if I'm right, this will be like and obviously this is jazz what I've done this on, but you can do it on note, and this is good for like guitar licks or bass if you want a bass to keep playing slightly different all the time. So obviously there's nifty ways of doing it. Me personally, I thought, from my observation of that, I actually think what is better is excluding this and manually doing that. So because you could make it all what do they call it, the generative. You could there's ways of even making it more generative than that. Again, not my forte, not a thing that I'm even slightly interested in. I've just remembered as well, if you press edit and the thing you can get in there, so you don't have to do the holding notes or any stuff like that. I didn't put. Oh, do you know what I didn't do as well? I didn't put legato on, so that probably was why it sounded so kind of janky in my ears. So one of it didn't work. So let's see now. So what I will probably do now, just because I'm glutton for punishment, I've copied that. So now it's fully moving around and it's changing, and I've got the little thing between. So I can come back in here again, and I can say, I'll go low, I'll go to my favourite instrument, and I'll type the word flute in, and then I'll get the world of flute. Let's try flute. So basically, yeah, that was jazz. Like I said, I was gonna keep this one a short one. Is there any questions before I depart? Is anybody want to ask anything? Because this is really, at the moment, I always say, if you're there and you're watching, if there's anything that you want to ask me, I will try to answer it. Or if there's anything that didn't seem clear, I will try to answer that before I depart. Yeah, I think there's a time delay, so I'll give it 2 minutes. I'll quickly play. I'll quickly show something else. What else can I show you here? Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'll record that stuff in. Was it? Thanks for another great session. Oh, no worries. Well, yeah, cool. Like I said, it was an idea. In fact, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna disinclude. I'll go edit. I'll get rid of. Oh no, I'll keep them on. I keep them on because I can use these. But what I'll do is I'll uninclude this from it. Is there a quick way? Let me think. Is there a quick way? If I go edit, can I go edit track? No. Oh, mental note to self and to use. If you ever want to quickly go to you don't have to use shift click. You can press edit and edit track. I was wondering if it went edit track settings, but it makes sense why it doesn't do that to there. So let me go back to here. I'll do a hold press, and then I'm gonna go over the bass, and I'll exclude the bass, and I'll do one more thing. Since we got this here, let's do a little quick arrangement. So I'll stop everything, and we'll go arrange, and we'll record, and you will start with a bass. And now I can use the bass because it's not been affected, so I can get my own grooves going on here. So think about it, if I had other things I could be doing that. And then that thing what I was showing you, I can do that. I'll do me. So now I've got all that and I can get rid of whatever I want from there. So just to show you what happened there, I recorded that tempo change in. So I think I'll end it there. So there. So I'll get rid of the drums there and the bass there and the thingies. And I can quickly do that by what's the other one on it? Do you know what? My brain always goes, what's horizontal, what's vertical? So I'll go here. I prefer myself, this is me, I prefer to use the grid. So The only thing you have to remember is remember to select the thing you want. Press select, and then I can just use the rest of this, and I can kind of deep dive in that, and it gives me a better control over what I want to get rid of. If you like, you can use the arrangement one, but I think the grid one is nice. I can just clear that, and I'm still in the same place, so I can just move to another track, and again the same thing again. So let me scroll across so that I'm in the area that I want to be, and then oh, the piano is fine. I want to keep the piano there. I want to get rid of the drums. So again, move across, zoom in, and one of these is a crash, so I can find out which one that is. So I'll keep that on and get rid of the snare. I'll get rid of the kicks from there. So select them. Oh, deselect because I only want them. And if you've been watching any of my stuff before, you obviously know I could do this with a step sequence as well. So I'm just showing here because I'm like, yeah, I'll get rid of that. But I personally, I think you can get into some really sophisticated compositional editing far better than you can on a normal DAW with this, because it's like hands on, and because it's hands on, your brain kind of works a different way sometimes. So now I can play this from here and see how so do you know what that was playing there? Let me go back to the, so fast forward again. Another thing which is nice, and yeah, so get rid of that. Da, da, da. See, all of this is nice. This is the stuff I like. Why this is better than a DAW, because there's such little ideas. You just come to things and you're like, yeah, is that right? Yeah, that feels right. Go back down here. And then I'll probably add this down for the Beatstream Beat 5, 6, I think. Right. Well, this has been a nice one. I don't know what are we on the 4th. I'll probably do one next month. As I was saying, next month, maybe next week. It helps me if you have any questions, put them in there, because if I don't have any ideas, I'll come on, but I probably won't stay long because I'll just say, look, here's something, and then I'll be off. So it helps. Oh, wait, sec, Dazza, you're asking me something. So I think I noticed the manual arranger makes markers when a trigger due. Does this just move the screen? Yeah, the markers is the playhead. You can play. You can do some nifty things by messing with the markers. So what's good about these markers, again, quality of life, is for each sequence, they're individual. So when you set these markers on this sequence, they don't affect the other ones, and they're saved like that. So whatever you're doing, if you're clever about it, what you could do is you could have an arrangement, set them, and then while it's playing, you could just move to different parts. What I've done when I've been playing myself and it's live on a gig, and I've wanted to say improvise or have something cycle, I'll make sure that I'll go here to the go here, and I'll put it into which one is it? Yeah, off. So I think it's the loop is off. When it's set loop range by locator. No, have set loop range by locator, and then let it go until you're inside that loop, and then press loop, and then now it'll just go around in a cycle. If you do it before, it'll jump to that area. Um, unless, don't quote me about this, unless it done. I can't remember. I can't remember. There was a reason why when you press it, it goes to that. It goes to the locator. Yeah, because it immediately goes to the locator. But if you set loop by a locator and the loop isn't on, right? Let me just verify that. So I'm going to set one here. So if I'm playing here and I go to that, no, it's going to jump to that in it, yeah. But what you can do is you could create that as a like bespoke loop. So set one and use that for looping. Then I could go say here and set two. Obviously this is on bars. If you want to change it to anything like beats, or you have to go in there and you can say it to ticks if you want. So now if say this was playing like, and it was playing here and it was going if I press loop, oh not loop, sorry, if I have loop on, it's not playing. But if I go here and I press the 2, it's now into its own loop. So I can have that into its own loop. So again, if I was further off and I set one here, it could be this amount of loops. That's the only. I wish there was a better way I could explain it. Like if I go to 3, it's going to be that until it sees the next marker. So if I wanted to, if I was set a loop here, now if I press 3, this is the cycle. So if you get it right in your head, if you're live and you've got this, and say you were playing, and you could do it with a band, you could do it by yourself. It doesn't really matter. You would do it live, and then you're like, oh no, I want to hit that chorus again. You would set up the markers, make sure that it's the loop brace, and then when that tune's playing, as long as it's not past it, it won't go back. So you press that, and then it'll be there in the loop. So let me do that again. Let me explain that again. So I've set that, I deselect it, select it, I'm fine, because it's already a set loop. So when it gets to that, it's going to go around in that cycle. So that's a nifty way of and do you know what? Let me see if I could get a little bit more giddy. I think if it's here, no, I thought as much. I was wondering if I could kind of, well, you jump to it. So the best way of using that would be, you could, the short version of it is, unless you're nifty, if you were nifty, there was something I was trying to see about that. I don't think that's going to be doable. But if you're nifty, unless you're nifty, you can have one loop cycle per sequence. So if you had a song, you got a bunch of songs, and then you've got this song, you could say, right, sometimes I want to use that chorus thing, so I'll do that. Your alternative is you could manually do it. So what you could probably do is you do that, and then, I don't know, let's say you had, you'd obviously do this before you started the song. So I don't know, let's say you had 4. No, I've done 4. Let me say, I don't know, we had 1 there. So you've got 6. So I can have 5, and then I can have 6. So say I have 6 here. Then if this were my song and this my song's playing, I could say, I'm trying to think how I would do this. That's going to take me there. So if I go 2, yeah, there's no way you could do it. You basically you can have one improvised loop um, per song. So if you knew there was an area of the song that you might want to keep playing over and over again, then that would probably be the way. That's from one track. Obviously, like I said, there's amazing. The thing about this is amazing. So what you could do is you just make it into a sequence. So now imagine if there was, instead of me doing that, because that's just the one, but I say, oh, there's this song part that I'm going to keep repeating round and round again. So then I just have it as a next sequence and then I just tap it in there. And then I've got next sequence. Or I could just go like this and I can go to that and it'll hit the next sequence if I say. But using next sequence is better because it can do it for the next bar. So if you were doing a tune and you said, "Oh no, do you know what? I like that." What you do is you just copy that sequence over and then have it loop round. So, like I said, there's 90 million ways. There's some of the Mark, Easy Mark. You can't hear me. Oh, all right. Well, I'm speaking. I don't know why you can't hear what I'm saying. It's a hard one to judge. Hopefully, you'll be able to hear me on the playback. As far as I'm concerned, let me have a double look. One, two. Where's that mic stuff? Where is it? One, two. Yeah. Oh no, the mic's all right. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what's happening there. But yeah, okay. So yeah, that's about the size of that. I'll obviously make this into something um, for the beat stream, but I hope that's been helpful. And as I say, if you have any questions, um, please put them down because I'm kind of out of I don't really think about it. I just want to always help. So sometimes I don't have ideas unless there's something literally new that I could say, oh, this is ace. Um, I could show effects. So I might do one showing effects. Maybe I'll get a song and I'll just show you mastering effects. I think that's what I'll do. But please put some questions down. All right. Well, appreciate everybody staying and watching, and as I always say, until next time, be good. Have a good week or weekend, and be safe. And I'll catch you. So check out my video if you haven't seen it, and my tunes if you haven't heard them. Until then, as always, peace.